So today I'm talking about The Witcher, The Last Wish. This is the first book by Andrzej Sapkowski. And as many of you know, I have a Witcher project here on the channel. That means reading the books, playing the video game, Witcher 3, and also actually exploring other forms of Witcher content. I saw recently that there are comics and there are also a board game, The Old World. I have not bought that yet, but if you are interested, I might do that. I will do it probably anyway because they are miniatures which you can paint. But this is today a book review and my reflections on The Witcher so far. And if you have the energy to stay until the end, I'll talk a little bit about my reflections in relation to the video game as well. So, the Witcher Last Wish is a short story collection. It has a framework. It surrounds, of course, Geralt of Rivia, which you probably know who that is. It's a Witcher, it's a witch hunter, it's a monster hunter. And the Witcher has non human abilities and magical abilities. In this story, we learn that he is injured after battle and he wakes up in a temple, and there he retells flashbacks from what he has experienced, and that is the short stories. We are in a temple called Melitelli, and it's in Elander. Um, some of the individual short stories were published in a magazine, Polish magazine, Fantastica, I think during the 80s. You might correct me there if you know more than I do. And Andrzej Sapkowski won a competition and then he started to write more Witcher stories. So I was advised by some of you here on the channel to start with The Last Wish, then Sword of Destiny, which also is a short story. I've just started Sword of Destiny, and then continue on to The Blood of Elves. It's called, right? The Blood of Elves, right? Um, there are seven short stories here, and maybe the most famous one is The Lesser Evil. I think the title frames and captures a lot of what Witcher is trying to tell. I think difficult questions: who's a monster, who's evil, what do you need to do when in a difficult situation, what is right, what is wrong. It's not so easy always. The Witcher stories have strong connection to folklore, especially the Slavic mythology and folklore. I'm new to that, so it's interesting. However, since I'm knowledgeable in Norse mythology, I see a lot of parallels, especially with the fear of nature and how that is translated into monsters. That is the same here in Scandinavia, and it's the same in Slavic mythology. However, I think Slavic mythology is way more scarier. So, Witcher has elements of horror, of course. It's fantasy. It's grim dark, but not without hope. I don't. Maybe not grim dark. Do you think Witcher is grim dark? Please tell me. It has a lot of humor, and I really enjoy following the characters here, especially Geralt, of course, because it's the first book, and he is a reluctant hero. If he is a hero, maybe he's an anti-hero. I don't know. He's skeptical. Don't want to be famous. He is actually a witcher. They are frowned upon, detested, and people look down on witchers because they are afraid of witchers. Witchers are maybe, I think, almost like monsters. They can yield magic signs, for example. Igni, for example, I think art is a sign too. They also hunt down monsters, but they do it for money. So you have to pay the witcher. The witcher doesn't, kill anyone. In that sense, it's little bit like Dexter. It's a long shot, maybe. Dexter, the TV show, the serial killer kind of monster, I would say. Only kills bad people, he says. And then we have the Batman, the Bruce Wayne, also have a lot of quotes. I think Geralt goes into that kind of hero, anti-hero archetype. Is a hero, but doesn't feel like the hero in a way. In this short stories, we get to know a lot of characters that occur later, especially in the video games which I'm playing now. And that's is a Dandelion. Dandelion, right? You say so. Dandelion. He's a bard, a poet, not a typical one. I mean, according to the cliche fairy tales, folklore, he's seems to be drinking a lot. He's a lot of problems and relationships to women, and he seems to put Geralt in a lot of trouble. So it seems, at least, they have a very tight friendship. Almost, I don't know, like Sam and Frodo. It seems to be very, very close. That's the impression I get from these first 7 short stories in The Last Wish. And we also get to know Jennifer in the book, and Jennifer is a sorceress. I don't want to spoil too much, but I assume Witcher is well known to you. Jennifer is a sorceress, and Geralt and her and she and her have a difficult, complex relationship, right? So a stormy relationship, it seems like. Yeah, I don't envy Geralt, but he seems to be very fond of Jennifer. And this is the first stories, as you know, and so you only get a glimpse, a feeling for the Witcher world. I played the video game first. I think the book captures this desolate, scary, horror-like, folklorish, mythical feeling. The book definitely captured that. It would be surprised if they wouldn't do that. It should be the other way around. But I think the games are a great complement to the book. I think you can say that stories are. I mean, they are short stories, so some are very short, like 10 pages or even less, and some are 30, 40 pages in this book. And they have elements of fairy tales we know, like maybe Snow White or the Grimm stories, the Brother Grimm. At least that's how we say in Sweden, Brother Grimm. And but there are twists in the plot, and things are not as expected. Usually to either the humoristic or the scary part of storytelling, I would say. We also have the elves here. I think we have elves, we have dwarves, we have other races as well in The Witcher, and the elves are interesting because in the Last Wish, the elves we meet, they are outlaws, and it doesn't seem to be so nice. Not like the Tolkien elves, even if they are dark elves in Tolkien as well. But these elves, had to think. I mean, are these people really elves? I wasn't sure yet. I had to read it again, actually. I think the writing of Sapkowski is great. It's very efficient. If you have listened to Sapkowski during interviews, you know he talks in a very confident way. He talks in short sentences, and he doesn't waste his words. I think that goes into his prose. There is no waste in words here. It's very effective. Still, these are short stories. I'm curious on the real Witcher saga, The Blood of Elves, and how he can translate the short stories into bigger scope with, I think it's 5 or 6 books, The Witcher saga. That'll be interesting. I would start Sword of Destiny. I think the short story Lesser Devil is sorry, that's Rocchio. Sorry, confusing. Lesser Evil. The Lesser Evil is tells a lot. I mean, it as I said, maybe initially, it captures so much of the Witcher storyline. You know, fear for the monster, who is the monster, right? And fear for the being different, or fear for difference. Um, Evil, good, what's that? Who's that? Is there anything like that? It captures a lot of gray zones. It's maybe not easy to do the right choice. Sometimes we don't know what's right or the wrong choice, and Geralt unfortunately has to do a lot of choices, and you do that in the video game as well. I think the moral of the stories are not so clear always. So it's a great book if you want to have it in your book club, for example, or reading circle, and discuss the choices you make, if they are good or not. I think the storytelling feels very traditional. Short stories, easy to remember, easy to discuss. This is not Ericksonian, obviously. Um, no musings. Actually, I've encountered some quotes in the book where some character or Sapkowski as a writer writes like, "Okay, enough of storytelling or enough of lecturing. Now let's go, let's go on and tell the story." So this is not uh, a book which is very long at all. But I think the lore is deep still, because he seems to be able to add lore in the text. There is no appendix, there is no glossary. I'm not sure if it's that in Blood of Elves, but I haven't opened the book yet. Not Tolkien-esque in that way, not Ericksonian, but the fan base obviously have made a lot of things like that. We have the Wikipedia, of course, for The Witcher. We have the Witcher 3 game, which is a great glossary, I think, a bestiary, and you can read about all the characters, for example. And there is a lot of other material that you can find on the web, or you can buy books about The Witcher. So there is a lot of support, and you have the Netflix series. But what I heard, it's not good. So I won't watch the Netflix series until I've read the books and play the game, the video game, and I will probably, as I said, say play the board game as well. Um, One thing that I think is interesting is the hatred that Geralt meets, because people are afraid of the Witcher. He's seen as something scary uh, and non-human. That makes it special, because then he can't act like a hero, right? He doesn't come to save the day. He does it reluctantly, and people meet him with reluctance as well. I think that's an interesting take. Nothing special, but still good. We seem to be all over the Witcher world. I mean, geographically, and I'm still learning the game. So I'm in the video game. I'm in Novograd, and there I'm searching for Ciri, and actually for Dandelion at the moment as well. So I also, got sidetracked a bit, doing a lot of side quests and also doing contracts. I'm actually out in the wild wilderness in Velen, and engaging in fights. There are competitions where you fight other people. I think it's a funny thing. I also try to play and learn the Gwent game. Have you played the Gwent? Do you like that? I'm curious to hear about your thoughts on The Last Wish. If you started to read the books, or if you went from the video game to books, what was your impression, and what did you like? Was it something you didn't like? Uh, I can say already now that I'm hooked by the Witcher world, and I think it's great in The Last Wish that we get to know Dandelion a little bit, and it's Bard and Poet, as I said, and also Yennefer, the sorceress. Important characters in the story, and further on, I know already. Still, please don't spoil things for me. You can actually do that if you would like to. I hope you don't. I'm generous sharing my Witcher journey. I think the book is really immersive with the sounds and the nature, and the characters, clothes, and everything feels a bit, because um, unpolished in this poor people. People are sick. People are ill. It's dirty in a way, I would say. Houses and the environment that goes into the video game as well. I think really the book captures the video game vibe. One thing that is special when you play the video game is that you're really immersed because you hear the sounds of the forest and people shouting in the streets, or running away screaming because they're afraid of you. Becomes a little different with the video game because then you actually are Geralt, and when you read the books you read about him. When it comes to the book, one negative thing I have to say is that of course the stories are short and it's difficult to know how they are connected, if they are connected. Maybe that will become more apparent later during my read. So that was some thoughts from me to you about The Witcher. I'm aiming at doing similar videos that I'm doing right now on Malasan. That means lore videos on Witcher. I will start maybe doing 2 to 5 lore videos, see how it goes. And one thing I really appreciate with the Witcher is, especially in the game, that you can read books. That's great, of course. But also that the game seems very faithful to the source material. There might be different opinions about that, but to me it seems like very, very faithful to the Sapkowski's book and work. So that's great. So I would like to hear your thoughts on The Witcher. Maybe a live stream talking about The Witcher. That would be really nice. Tell me if you're interested in that. Not so much tea, I think, in The Witcher yet. The Malasans, they drink a lot of tea. They seem to drink a lot of beer. That's good too. It's very nice. But until next time, have a great day. And here in Sweden, it's evening. It's a bit colder now, but they say the summer heat is coming back next week already. So until that time, maybe next time I record, it's hot weather. See you later, and thank you so much. Bye.